Okay guys, welcome back. So following on from Matt's test of the SEL, we're going to do some righty testing. We've got our main man, Mr. Caldwell, in here. Mr. Mizuno Canada.
How you doing, man?
Nice to see you, pal. So we are going to do some testing of the MMC and the HMB. We were just chatting about the style of iron you like, that you enjoy. Mm-hmm. You're a hot metal guy.
Long iron hot metals.
Long iron hot metal. What do you play in the mids and shorts?
So 7, 8, 9 would be, because I'm still in the previous model, the 900 forged.
Yeah.
And then I have T7 pitch. So I got a 45, 50, 55, 60 in the T7. So. Very
cool. Okay, so looking at the MP line, looking at these new ones, you were saying you love the look of this MMC, but you're maybe just concerned that whether this would be a little too much club for you.
Yeah, because I don't play enough golf anymore. Yeah. I mean, this checks all the boxes with look and feel, but I just hit a couple and just slightly off, and know it. So for me and my ability and the amount of golf I play, I think that HMB is probably, if I put a new set into play, it would most likely be that.
But. And I'm really curious to see how this goes then, in terms of what spec we end up with you, and you've been playing like an LZ 5.5,
yep.
115 grams. Okay. All right, let's run through some tests and get some numbers. Start with MMC, Chris, and then we'll go from there. Straight out of the gate with a beauty.
Picked up right where you left off from the course.
Fitting over.
Done. These work just fine. Yeah. What's your handicap?
Honestly, I haven't had, legitimately to answer that question, I haven't had any, because I don't play enough golf. But I think if I, probably like 8 to 10.
You're right.
Realistically. Every once in a while I can still hit it.
Yeah.
I suffer around the greens. I don't have that.
Yeah, it's not from ball striking that you're at 8 to 10. It's typically just from not playing enough.
It's chipping and putting.
I think you strike it, and your swing, your speed, and everything would be a lower handicap than that, I would guess.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not there. If I could put it this way, if I'm on the happy side of 80, I mean that's a very good day for me. But most times I'm probably not.
Okay. Oh yeah, I mean you've got all the attributes and sort of DNA of a really nice striker. I mean. All the delivery parameters there are right where we would kind of like to see them. You hit that one a fraction low, but you barely lost anything. It carried 184. You were saying earlier that would be a nice 6-iron for you carry-wise.
Yeah, I think I would probably pull in play.
Yeah.
If you gave me that number, I might lean more towards the 5-iron. Sure. But I would take that distance, carry distance any day.
Let's hit a few more.
Oh, that was solid. I don't think I can hit it any better than that.
We're going to get him to change his mind here about what
maybe
that he likes.
Or just get a camera crew to follow him around.
Some people just love the camera, don't they? Just turn it on for the camera. That was really, really good. Really, I mean,
So from a 6-iron, my question would be, and then when I do club fits out there as well too, and one of the things I like to look at is the spin and sort of the angle of descent too, looking at being able to stop that club or that ball. So for me, what are your thoughts, Ian, on a 6-iron with just around 5,000 roughly, 4,800?
So we're 47 on that one. So when you deal with different players, and Sarah, when I deal with different players, their delivery will often dictate where they lie in terms of spinning. Are you shallow but have the handle forward, so that spin loft window narrows enough where we know we're always going to be scratching and fighting for more spin? So in this case, using your MMC 28 degree standard loft on
28 degrees is correct.
So that'd be pretty decent, and that's really as low as Mizuno go, isn't it? On the MP.
On the MP side, you're right. When you get to the JPX, it goes a little bit stronger. But I think you bring up a good point in terms of spin rate isn't everything. It's how you're delivering that spin rate.
Absolutely. And if we go over to the ball and we look at kind of the peak height and what we're able to see from that angle of descent, 46 is a really respectable angle of descent. So you're relying a little bit more on the ball coming into the green at a specific angle to stop it, rather than sort of obviously the enough spin and stop on the green once it hits there. So
that's a great way for people to think about it too. Is it's not just that spin rate number, because you're right. You got a great landing angle, even though on paper 47 sounds a little bit low.
Right. Okay, let's set a couple more with this one, and let's see if we do start to see any of the leakage.
That was a little toey.
A fraction toey, but
lost
protected you for the
yards.
most part, didn't it?
Yep. I mean, solid.
Interesting.
Right.
Very good. Chris, on what side do you tend to miss it or hit it?
Yeah, I thought that question was going to come. My misses tend to be if I get quick with my hands. I can get that ugly hook going. Yet conversely too, if I get ahead of it, you'll see when I play a lot, my hands, I get really flippy. I think, I think I have that.
A little bit of cupping in there.
I think a lot of cupping. Yeah. So yeah, if the timing's there, but I would say it could go either way. So it's.
Well, just looking at your delivery and certain things, I mean, if you look at the face-to-path relationship, we'll see the club is traveling right. Predominantly, that head is staying left of a little bit closed to that path. So the path is heading out to the right. The face is just inside that, which is nice. I mean, the path going right, the face staying between target line and path will normally give us our nice little push draw. So we've kind of got that going on for the most part. We do have a situation where we've got the dynamic lie angle a little bit toe down, so we have the loft tilted a little bit right for you here. So I wouldn't mind with this one just making a small adjustment and see if we bring that ball flight back online a little bit and where we get to with this setup. Okay, so really, really good. I think probably a little surprise. Maybe were you surprised how well you hit that and how good the performance was on it?
Yes, and the fact that normally I'd get maybe one or two of those, but really everyone was very well hit. And
pretty encouraged that your striking really stood up to a profile that your eye likes the look of, but your confidence maybe doesn't always feel like you've got in you.
Yeah, but no, it felt really good.
Well, and one thing I'll add is that as a Mizuno guy, you've been familiar with the MMC construction for a while and where that fits into our product lineup. With this one, we did some tweaks to make it more forgiving. So even though the technology is the same as it was in the previous MMC and on the 59, 58 in the past, this one has a bit more playability, particularly in the long irons. You're holding a 6, the sole's going to be a bit wider, the CG a bit deeper, so it is going to launch and be a little bit more forgiving than previous versions.
And then in the shorter irons, we narrowed.
Exactly right. So the set flows a little bit more aggressively, but on the longer irons, you can get a little bit more out of them.
Well, and looking at where those strikes were, as someone who's relatively shallow, is definitely not a big divot taker. So your strike does tend to hover in the lower end of the sort of head. So you're getting a little bit of that tilt of the head downward. So retaining a lot of that height through launch is great for someone like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I don't take big divots.
No,
they're very shallow.
Okay. Let's see a few of these.
There we go.
So almost getting a feel for that one for Crisco. Okay, let's work off of that from a feel perspective. And I'm just watching your dynamic lie angle trending here. So it's definitely less down. So we had it almost 2 degrees down. We actually moved it a little bit more than 1 degree. So it's interesting for me to kind of watch how you're sort of almost delivering that handle and how that's affecting dynamic lie. But I think a little bit of that sort of toe striking is kind of keeping you out there as well. A little bit of deflection to the right.
See that I would like that.
That's really a good close, isn't it?
It felt really good.
Getting great carry out of it.
Yeah, really, really strong. Really strong. I mean, 138. It's a lot of bang for your buck. I mean, you swing it quick though. You you're well worthy of those ball speeds with the out, the input from your swing speed.
Yeah, I mean, I love the look. I just don't. I because of lack of play, I don't have the confidence to actually play the whole year with a set like this. So I lean towards the more forgiving model.
That's a part of it for the player who knows that that's their game. It's out the trunk and onto the tee. You're not spending 30 minutes in the range or getting multiple range sessions through the week. So.
No.
You got to play to your strengths, or in terms of what you're given, and if that's defaulting to a slightly more forgiving model because that's what your life gives you.
Yeah, and
so be it.
And as far as this model, the head goes, and clearly I'm biased, obviously working for Mizuno, but those were some pretty good hits, even the miss hits. And it is a great feeling golf club for something that's got, 3 different sort of materials built into one.
Right.
Doesn't feel like it.
Very cool. All right, let's get you into your HMB because I know you're desperate to try that one. Thank you. Okay, so MMC tested, really good, really liked it, but really curious how you do with this HMB.
Me as well.
Okay, so let's get a few reps with that. Wow.
That's funny.
Was easy.
That was different and good and
nice launch.
I might give Maddie a go there. Wow.
So
and you could tell right away that was I was hit very well. I don't I said, I've hit a couple with the MMC that were hit as good as I can hit it. You can tell a difference.
Yeah.
Of the I knew I hit it longer right away.
An audible thing, or what was it? Something you were hearing? Something you were feeling?
Just it was in the middle of the club. I don't know. It was in the middle of the face. So anyway.
So it was mostly launch angle, deeper center of gravity. Spin rate was pretty comparable.
It was very comparable. That was the first kind of place my eyes went to. Yeah. I wondered if all the kind of height and sort of came from sheer velocity, but there was tons of spin on it. Launch conditions were great. It just sounds like it's crushing this, doesn't it?
It's a good combination of it sounds hot, but it doesn't feel, I don't know, it doesn't sound hard. It's got a little bit of that soft feel
too. It really does have the softness to the sound.
It's going to be really interesting to look at ball speed and max height.
We're already sort of seeing little glimpses of kind of the averages and where they're sort of showing up.
Right.
And, for someone like Chris who, very interesting in terms of the delivered speed, and that you don't feel like you're doing anything different.
No, I don't feel like I'm doing anything different. But
speaks to confidence, right? It's such a silly thing.
I know. Was that a fraction?
A little bit.
More
it wasn't as good as the first two.
Yeah, slightly low in the toe in that same kind of spot as before.
If I had to guess, honestly, it felt a little towards the heel, but I don't know. I'm not.
It was more on the low side, so it's showing up here. It was 12 millimeters low, 5 millimeters toe, but it still gave you 123.
But a great miss.
Great miss.
And that's the key, right? With anything is how your misses go.
Yeah. Let's see a couple more. I mean, that's your zone, isn't it? It's the zone you live in, is that kind of slightly low, fairly centered, ball speed retention's great. I'm really encouraged to see, obviously that's cutting a little bit, but how much spin Chris is able to sort of retain with this one.
Right, exactly. And that's where one of the things is, because you do tend to miss low on the face, that's where that hollow body construction is actually going to really help. Because
especially in the long irons,
Especially in the long irons, exactly. Because it's thin, the whole face is thin, but also the sole area is thinned out as well. Right. So you get a little bit more contribution low on the face for not only ball speed, but also launch and everything. So the fact that you are, like you said, you're living in that little area just below center, you're getting consistent results out of it.
Yeah, I think that's sort of strike pattern. So looking at the strike pattern, that's something that in fitting is another one of those nuances maybe that isn't quite looked at enough in selecting which product might be good for a player. it's one thing I love about GC Quad is being able to do that,
Right.
being able to pinpoint those strikes and where they are within a millimeter or so. I think that's so informative for the fitters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Hit a couple more for me. I want to try and just maybe throw you in one different shaft. This one, I'm just looking again at the dynamic lie angle's changed, even though the lie angle was exactly the same as it was with MMC. Dynamic lie angle's changed a little bit here. Just sounds awesome.
You're delivering it really nicely.
Really,
through this
really
one.
good. Yeah, I think
that was me
as a
there.
fitter and from our standpoint, I think with HMB we're going to basically allow a different segment of the market to play the iron they've wanted to play for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about that. You know, that sort of player who really was envious of their friends in playing nice Mizuno irons, but their handicap maybe was a little higher, so they were always pushed towards cavity back and.
They want to see blades in the bag.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe they just can't play
know,
those bags.
I know.
Well, now they kind of can.
That's right.
Well, and that's part of the beauty of the MP20 set too. Is I mean, you were striking the MMCs really, really well, but then if you were to play those on the shorter iron end, you could combine them easily.
Yeah.
So you know, you could, depending on how far down in the set you bring the HMBs, the handicap range for that club is pretty wide.
Right. Yeah, very cool. Okay, I'm going to give you an alternative sort of shaft in that one, see if we can change that timing a little bit. So little change to the shaft. I'm just having a little fun as much as anything else. I loved how you hit that last one. I really did. The sound quality of that strike was just sounded really, really well struck. Your ball speed went up quite a bit, and you really retained it on the misses as well. There was a very little drop off. Just curious to see what we do with Modus.
That felt a little toey, low
Yeah,
toey again. But, you know, pretty good still.
Really good
Yeah.
result. I mean, I'm looking at that kind of as a miss, and if you stay within the boundaries of that green, you know, we'll certainly take that as a good result.
I would.
Yeah, from you know where you're hitting that from, which is 190 yards. That's where that pin is set. I mean, if you're just missing that 13 yards just off to the side, and you've got a 40 footer, that's
No,
fine.
I take that.
Yeah, that's okay.
As long as I'm not in a bunker.
Exactly.
Okay, there's a good one.
Button that one.
Yeah.
Yep. That's pretty good.
I mean, you are quick enough where we have to start thinking about stabilizing the shaft a little bit. We don't want to compromise the face coming in, so that spread gets a little bit too wide.
Feel is sometimes hard to define or describe, and as fitters, it's hard to. What are you feeling? All I can say is this feels a little more positive,
right,
than the previous setup. Now, whatever that means, I don't know. I feel something else slightly different. So, like those are three really good shots that I would keep.
Carry distance looks like they're all within a yard or two of each other.
I just kind of tightening up the dispersion a little bit, take away those kind of two that were sort of drifting on that side. And you're looking at the numbers, that doesn't explain it, but it's more of selecting the right part to influence the timing of the player, and maybe just subtly narrowing down that miss a little bit is all. And you said something earlier on when we were reviewing the MP20 line and how focused you guys are in-house now on the fitting element.
Right.
And how much sort of one model transition into another. And that's so encouraging to hear that that's the focus at the top of the design with these products now.
Yeah, it really is the number one thing. If it can't be custom fit and it can't be mixed and matched, then we're not going to do it, because fitting is what we do. It's how people play better golf.
Right.
You can put all the technology in the world into a club, but if it doesn't fit to you, you're not going to be able to unlock or unleash that technology. So you're right, we put that into a lot of different things, and not just on individual heads, but with the MP20 line on how these heads flow together, because the fitting aspect is huge. The last thing you want is to pull an HMB and then combine it with a muscle back, and then all of a sudden you see massive distance gaps and trajectory gaps and different looks at address. So everything is designed to flow together. And that's where a fitter, looking at these numbers is so valuable to see. I know we're right there on that transition of, could I play the MMC on this one or that one, which means on the 6-iron you got a decision, but it's an easy decision on the 7-iron, easy decision on the 5-iron, and then it's just dialing in what you want to do on the 6.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
That was first day in front of the cameras. You helped me out a bunch because my old back wasn't going to take the right-handed swings today.
Well,
so
I'm glad I could help.
yeah,
That's
we
great.
appreciate it. Excellent. All right. Well, I think that's a thorough look through MP20. Really excited to get the feedback now from our customers and get them trying it compared to sort of some of the other irons and hearing their feedback on it. But I think already we've seen so much positive in what's been done. What surprised you there?
Huh? It felt tremendous. It felt more solid than the previous one. I was just looking at it. I thought maybe you gave me 105 stiff.
Right.
It was 120
Yeah,
stiff.
just a little bit more weight in the 116 gram parts. A little bit, just tighten up the way the shaft loaded a little bit. LZ might have just been a little bit sluggish in the softer middle section, so just sharpen that feel a little bit for you. Perfect. Excellent. All right. Awesome.
Great.
Perfect. Right, we're going to transition now. We're going to do some sort of chat on T20 wedges and more to come. We've got our special guest in town. Actually, 2 special guests in town this week, which is great. So stay tuned and we've got more to come.